One of the most essential qualities of a successful leader is having a listening ear. President Bola Tinubu is being applauded for the suspension of the cybersecurity levy. The latest is coming from Senator representing Borno South, Ndume, who commended President Tinubu for the decision to suspend the cybersecurity levy. The Senate Chief Whip, who described the president's response as swift, noted that the development didn't come as a surprise. BKO, Nigerians kicked against this.
Yes.
Nigerians kicked against this, and President Tinubu again has demonstrated what it takes to be a listening leader.
Yes, and look at the words that Ndume used in describing the president. He called him a listening, responsive, and reactive person who is concerned about the plight of the poor people. You see, one good thing about this program is that we accurately gauge the mood of the majority of our people.
And we always stand by the people.
We stand by our people.
Not the government.
No, I'm not interested in the government.
But
governments come, governments go. But the journalist who is faithful to his calling will remain a journalist forever.
Consistent. Standing
We don't retire. We don't retire. Great journalists die practicing the profession. We can see with Blizzard at that age is still very much active.
situation.
And so many of them like that. So we stood by our people. That these taxes, at a time when people are going through a lot, we don't need this thing. The timing is wrong. We said it here on, was it Wednesday? Discussed it here. And we said, no, that is taxes. You cannot, at a time when there are so many taxes and people are grappling with existential problems, you can't introduce a new tax. And I remember saying, look, what we need to improve is the efficiency of collection of the existing taxes that we have. There are many avenues through which the resources are leaking.
When you expand,
it's not until you increase the number of taxes. When you improve on the efficiency of collection, you are still going to, and I gave the example of Lagos. Lagos, the IGR keeps going up.
Yeah.
It's not because they are introducing new taxes.
over 1 billion every day now.
It is the efficiency of collection. So, at a time when Nigerians are going through a lot, Babajide Kolade Otitoju will not be seen as encouraging, creating greater burden for our people. It's not going to happen. We mock those who say, oh, look at the APC program. Oh, APC program. And it's as popular as it is. What we have done for ourselves as trained journalists, those who are people who pass through good journalists who trained us, is to be faithful to our conscience, first and foremost, is to be on the side of our people.
Every time. Always.
We on the side of our people. Because, and it's the same thing, even with the electricity tariff. I'm not against increasing tariff. I've always asked for appropriate pricing, if you recall. But if you say you want to give me band A,
I mean, band A, I'm not having.
and I don't enjoy electricity for 5 hours. Tell me another story.
Band A, my foot.
So this is the thing. Some don't even belong to any band. So on this matter, it is clear. The timing is wrong. Even the big economists in our country, who always cite the government when the government comes up with revolutionary initiatives, on this call they said no now. And you can see As far as Ndume is concerned, he said this law was delivered in a hurry. The National Assembly members shouldn't deliver laws to us in a hurry. That's why you are there. Spend that time. Look at the bill with a fine-tooth comb. Come up with what we believe is right for our people. And you have to be sensitive. Sensitive about what goes on the streets of Nigeria. I appreciate the president for, again, this is not the first time that even on this program we say this is wrong, Mr. President, and he will pull back. That is the sort of president I want to see. Not the president will say whatever you like, if you like, strike.
That is deaf.
And we will not do anything. That's not. That's wrong.
Kolawole, they even told us that this might even affect, as in the transaction I'm doing online and everything, that people will decide to just put their money in their houses. Cash, load physical cash.
There are causal effects to every policy you bring into place. That is why a lot of times government will always do the cost-benefit analysis of policies, initiatives like this to see if it is actually needed at that particular time. It's a given that Nigeria is struggling with revenue issue. It is hampering at development. To a point that you're spending 100% of your income to service debt. You're not even paying back, the chunk of the debt yet. So every single money you see that they steal day and night, that we spend in frivolous expenses in government, they are all loans, unfortunately. So we need to move out from there to start generating more. But in generating more, you need to be careful too. Two things. One, if you're generating more, you don't generate. It is a given that there is no government that can tax its way out of such doldrum. You look at two aspects. As much as you want to tax, again, you look at how can you save fund internally. If you're asking us to pay every single levy, but in the government still live large. I said this at the very beginning of this government when the ministry were launched out. Please, I explained then that what we want to save fund, we don't have the money, and we are having an over-bloated government of 48 ministry. What for? I'll give you an example. The Ministry of Sport, that used to be manned with just one person, is now manned with 3 persons. The Minister of Sport, 1, the Minister of Youth, 2, the Minister of State for Youth. So if you want to generate more, you should also look at how to also save some funds. There are 2 healthy ways of keeping a good balance sheet. The first is to reduce your expenditure while you also increase your revenue. So what we not help the people at this point is such levy to increase revenue, especially when it is obvious that it is against the Cyber Crimes Act. The provisions of that act simply made this applicable only to some businesses listed in the second schedule. So that brings me to the point that before this was launched out, was there not a discussion to see, okay, the economic team, did they not meet to see what would be the effect of this if it is introduced to the people? I remember some years back when the former president Obasanjo was talking in Anambra State. He said Soludo brought a certain thing to him that would have been good for the government. But he said when he looked at it, it did not fit into the drive of the government for that period. He said not that the idea was not good. It was good, but not at that particular time. It won't fit into what the government was looking at. So this brings me to that point that do we not have a place where we bring policy initiatives to look at all the sides to it to see whether it is good for that moment or not? So I think I'm not just supporting what the maestro said. I'm throwing my weight behind. I don't think I want to romance the president for being a listening one. After all, before he came out, I don't think he will say he was not aware. Not a major policy like this. So for me, I think we shouldn't also, get to a point where we only withdraw when the people react this way, which is good in itself anyway.
But
when we react, you act.
Yes. The president won't even listen. No reaction, nothing. It will just be there.
That is the fact that you had a worse I don't think we should strike that comparison. You look at Bola Tinubu in Lagos State, was a different thing entirely. I did some job for World Bank in those days. Go and look at all the benchmarks, for governance reform in many of the states. Lagos was the benchmark. So when you are talking about him, you should be talking differently, not in that same level. On a more serious note, he had the private sector background, coming from such a place, then to government. We are expecting something, not in that comparison. Leave that aside. So for me, I'm not even going to put him side by side. No, that. While it is good for us to say, okay, we'll clap for you for listening to the people when they end, but we should also drive a situation where the government would have put this, on the
okay, we have to leave it there.
Our ports to see whether it is even good for us in the first instance.
And if we try whether it's good for us, and we discover that it's not good for us, then
We have to drop
a responsible government can retrace its steps.
Yeah.
what is the meaning of democracy?
Yes, because in life, you see, somebody renamed Unilag.
Yeah.
He thought that he would be hailed
So yeah.
because he renamed Unilag
Moshood
after
Abiola
the
University
biggest hero of our
of
democracy.
democracy.
And the people, he didn't expect what he got. And when he got it, what did he do? He retraced his steps. Not because the decision was bad.
Yeah.
Maybe many years down the line, before now, it could have been accepted. Maybe immediately after June 12th, people will have seen it differently.
In different lights.
But a lot of the young people today did not even know who Abiola was.
1993.
And they said, no, we are not going to accept it. If I was named after Awolowo, there was no protest.
No problem.
So sometimes some policies will come that, yes, you must get the timing right.
Yeah.
In this case, they never got the timing right.
I think the main issue now
Gentlemen, we
is
have to
the
leave
timing.
it.
They didn't get the timing
This
right.
law came into place 2015.
Yes.
Now that's
So
how
it's
it's
just
also
it's
called
the amendments
on
now.
the lawmakers to
All
even
right.
do thorough
They
job.
wanted to,
All right.
no, they wanted to strengthen the law. But in trying to strengthen the law, at a time, they introduced ways by which those who are charged to make that law work will be strengthened. And they came up with this levy. And at the time when people are hungry, finally they
Very
got
34% inflation.
with the fuel scarcity and everything. No, the timing was terrible. Even
All right.
lawmakers know it.
This